Tonight on our Great American panel, he is an entrepreneur, former CEO of Baja Fresh, and the author of Ignite, the 12 values that fuel billionaire success. I was just going to ask you for this book, David, but you were nice enough to bring me one. I'm going to be a billionaire shortly after reading this, right?
Right.
I hope. David Kim, welcome. She is an attorney and contributor to Forbes.com. Evangeline Gomez joins us. Hi, Evangeline. And he's known as Trump's right-hand man as the executive vice president and special counsel to Donald Trump and the Trump Organization. Michael Cohen also joins us. Hi, Michael. All right, so let's start with this breaking news about the Trumpster. He's apparently going to meet with Newt Gingrich on Monday, and then he's moderating this Newsmax debate of the Republican presidential candidates. Also on Monday, he's at the center of attention. Once again, the man is a PR genius. So I have two questions for you. First of all, can I hire him? Although I probably can't afford him. And number two, can you give us a little preview of what the meeting with Newt is going to be?
Well, first, you forgot one of the important three things that's happening on Monday. His new book is coming out as well, Time to Get Tough, which is really, it's a fabulous, fabulous book. Going to hit the bookstores and Amazon. Really interesting, easy read, but phenomenal book. As to Newt Gingrich, the sum and substance, I don't know. It's obviously another Republican candidate that's interested in Donald Trump's endorsement. Who wouldn't want it? He is a media magnate. He's got a big pocketbook, was recently disclosed, a $7 billion net worth. And on top of that, he's got a lot of rich friends, so it helps to move a campaign forward.
I noticed that you didn't answer my question as to whether or not I could hire him for free, for PR.
It could be tough.
Maybe we can negotiate. Evangeline, what do you think about this debate on Monday? Now, John Huntsman, and Michael, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but Huntsman said he's the only one so far who is not going to participate. As far as I know, the others will be there on Monday. What do you think? What kind of impact, Evangeline, do you think this will have?
Well, I don't think it's going to have the impact that Newt wants, and that's to gain independent voters. He's going to be in town to kiss the Donald's ring, but let's remember, Newt is an incredibly radical, divisive political figure. He was fined $300,000 by the House. He was kicked out as House Speaker by his own party, and he's a perennial flip-flopper. 1 minute he believes in global climate change, the next minute he doesn't.
But don't you think he's parried these criticisms pretty well? No candidate is perfect, and certainly Barack Obama on the other side has like a Louis Vuitton set of baggage.
Monica, first he's for Obama's health mandate, then he's not. He's all over the map.
Well, we'll see, because the Republican voters, conservative voters, independents are going to come out over the next few months and make a decision. David, what's your view of Newt Gingrich's rise, meeting with the Trumpster on Monday? What do you think is going on here? Can he sustain the momentum?
I think he can. You know, as a young immigrant, when we look at Donald Trump, he's done a lot of great things for this country. And I think it's smart for Newt to go and pay a visit and get some of his advice.
So far,
absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So do you think that Newt Gingrich, though, can sustain the momentum? Evangeline was talking about some of the baggage that Newt has, but all the candidates have some major problems. Do you think he can keep this up?
Well, if anybody can rub some shoulders with the great Donald Trump, I think anything's possible.
There is going to be a bit of hair competition, Michael, on Monday between Newt and the Donald.
Forget about the hair thing. The bottom line is, Trump is a very important player right now in the GOP. Everybody, you're right, has come up, except for Huntsman. I don't really know. I know Mr. Trump has a lot of respect for John Huntsman, his family, and so on, but they did never meet. I think he is the only one. Why, that, again, I don't know. But it certainly makes sense for Newt to pay the visit up to Trump Tower. Mr. Trump is a very loyal friend, and if, in fact, that he gets the endorsement of Trump, it will certainly make his campaign election or run for presidency very easy.
Evangeline, we've got this debate coming up on Monday, this Newsmax debate, and then Fox News is going to do another debate, I think, on December 15th. There are a couple of other debates that are going to happen. Do you think voters have somewhat of debate fatigue, that voters are saying, let's get on with this already, I want to make a decision and cast a vote?
Not at all. These debates have been very entertaining, and I think people look forward, Democrats and Republicans alike are looking forward to these debates because it's really keeping the issues out there and allowing them to make a decision.
And it really has nationalized the race much earlier than we've seen in previous election years. Okay, guys, please stand by. More with our Great American panel right after the break. Sit tight. And we continue now with our great American panel. I just want to make a correction. The debate that Donald Trump is moderating is December 27th,
December 27th.
not on Monday.
And it's in Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay, great. All right, guys, let's turn our attention to the stalemate over the payroll tax cut. This big debate going on in Congress about extending this payroll tax cut. A lot of Republicans, David, are arguing that it should not be extended for two reasons. One, because it's decimating Social Security, as if there really is a trust fund that's solvent, which is not true. But also because it's temporary. And when you extend a temporary tax cut, you know, they're trying to do a stimulus in the form of this. But when it's temporary, it doesn't remove any uncertainty from the economy and therefore doesn't really stimulate anything. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm all for people working hard to keep their money. It's not the government's money. It is, our money. But I'm all for making sure that any tax cuts are fine. But the problem is we have to control spending. And if we can cut on spending and instead of taxing in other areas, then we can solve this issue. Problem is we don't have leadership right now. And the leadership needs to come in and really guide the American public where it should be going to. And the problem that I continuously see is that, yes, we want to stimulate the economy and we have other ideas how to do it. But, I have a very simple idea. Why don't we shore up more of the banks and have the banks lend to small businesses, because small business, after all, is the foundation and the
banks
backbone.
aren't loaning.
Well, they're not loaning because they're getting so many pressures from the government and the governments they're actually very scared that if they don't loan properly, they're going to be taken over by the government.
Evangeline, you agree?
The issue is that most American voters, Republicans and Democrats alike, and small business owners want an extension of the payroll tax cut. Republicans are treading some tough waters here. They're playing Russian roulette because if it doesn't pass, they're going to feel the heat come November.
So don't you think, though, that the Republicans, if they were smart, and this is a big if, but if they were smart, that they would call the Democrats' bluff on this and say, OK, you want an extension of the payroll tax cut. Let's make it permanent. You say you want it. Let's make it permanent. Remove the uncertainty from the economy and then put the Democrats in the box and force them to vote that down.
As Moody's indicated, if we would not have had the payroll tax cut last year, we would have been in a deeper recession.
Yeah, but this uncertainty.
I'm not buying it. The problem is Republicans and Democrats must get together and they have to make a deal. Something what Trump talks about all the time. They have to have leadership that could get them to negotiate, come to the table, and put together something that makes sense for the American people. Another thing Trump talks about a lot is, why are we constantly attacking and looting Social Security? What you should do is tax China. Tax Chinese products that are coming into America at 25%, something he talks about.
So you want a trade war with
It's
China.
Not a trade war. Believe me, we hold all the cards. Mark, if you listen to what Trump is saying, and it makes so much sense, it's not a trade war. They need America to buy their products. If they don't, they fall down. We need not a trade war. We need fair trade, not free trade, fair trade.
The great thing about the extension of the payroll tax cut is it will put more disposable income in American households, which will then lead to increased consumer spending, which is what we need.
So let's make it permanent. That's what I say. And again, if the Republicans were smart, they would do it.
Why? The extra money, the extra money that's going into your pocket's being taxed anyway.
Go ahead,
so you're not getting to keep 100%.
You know what? Here's the problem, David, that when we talk about the payroll tax cut, when we talk about stimulus in different forms, it's all just patchwork. This is all just Band-Aids on the bigger problem. You got to cut spending, rein in government, and put in a pro-growth agenda.
The leadership does not want to deal with all these problems today, so they keep kicking that can down the road. And eventually, it's going to be our children that's going to have to be dealing with all these problems. So we really need somebody to come and say that, you know what, enough is enough. We can't keep printing our problems and printing money to get out of these problems. And the thing is, nobody wants to talk about these spending cuts. Everybody wants to just keep printing here, and we're going to eventually run into problems.
Well, we're seeing that in Western Europe now with this huge sovereign debt implosion. You cannot continue going on like that. And when the United States implodes, it's going to make what's happening in Western Europe look like child's play.
I don't think we're going to have that problem here in this country. What's interesting is when Bush made his first tax cuts, you didn't hear the Republicans saying, where are we going to get the money for these tax cuts? And we need to cut spending here and there. Now it becomes an issue. When it comes to working and middle-class families, it now becomes an issue of We need to cut spending.
Well, we do need to cut spending because we just hit $15 trillion.
And where do they want to cut spending
debt.
from? They want to cut spending from the defense. The one thing in this world right now that's totally uncertain is our security. And that's the one thing that they want to attack again.
You know,
I don't understand this president. I don't understand our leaders. They're not leading. What they're doing is they're doing exactly what David said. They're kicking the can. Here's the problem. There's a wall now, and they can't hit the wall. And it's our children and our grandchildren that are really going to suffer.
Go ahead, David.
You know, they have to have the conviction. If they love America, they should really make that hard decision, not for a selfish reason, but for the next generation.
And I think both parties are going to do that by the end of December.
Are you holding your breath on that, Evangeline? I'm not.
I'm confident it's going to happen.
We'll see about that. Just very quickly, the other big debate that's in front of the Congress right now is the debate over extending unemployment benefits. Yet again, we got this unemployment picture today, sort of a mixed bag, a lowering of the formal unemployment rate, but still so many people are dropping out. What kind of pressure do you think is going to be on Congress to extend unemployment benefits again, David?
Well, again, you know, we're becoming a state of entitlements, and that's becoming an issue here. And at what point do we say, when do we stop?
That's it.
And at a certain point, we do have to stop that.
That's exactly the question. David, Evangeline, Michael,
thank you so much.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that's all the time we've got left this evening. Sean is back on Monday. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a good night.